Here, look. The Minister says that the proposal in the Green Paper for a three-tier system of disability payments has nothing to do with the UK system. But is it not founded on essentially the same idea, which is a test of capacity to work, the work capability assessment in Britain, and then the establishment of tiers? Why should we believe a government that is led by a Taoiseach who, when he was Minister in your position, ran a campaign on a completely false basis, claiming that welfare cheats cheat us all?
Minister.
Thank you, Cahir, and thank you, Deputy. Census 2022 data indicates that there are 1.1 million people with at least one long-lasting condition. While I would love to be in a position where I had unlimited resources, providing a weekly payment of €350 to such a large number of people would not be sustainable. Even if I could, such an approach would be unfair because people with disabilities are not one single group with identical challenges and needs. Disability exists across a spectrum and also affects people from all walks and backgrounds. That is one of the reasons we have a system of means tests and occupational assessments. They help to target resources to where they are needed most. I do acknowledge, Deputy, that the current system is outdated and overdue a change. And it has been in place for decades, and throughout that time we know that people with disabilities face higher rates of unemployment and poverty. That is why I want to generate ideas and discussions on how we can change the system so that we can increase the payments and improve employment outcomes. The Green Paper is a starting point for discussion on the future of long-term disability payments. It sets out the issues faced by people with disabilities and proposes one way in which the existing system of income supports might be changed. It does this to help move the debate on from what doesn't work to what might work. And I want to emphasise again that nobody will have their payment reduced, nor will anybody lose their entitlement to a disability payment. In fact, in the approach set out, we want to help focus the discussion. Many people would see that would see their payment increase by over €45 per week. I would like to emphasise that the system is not based on the UK model. The approach taken in the UK was designed to reduce the number of people in receipt of a disability payment and to reduce costs. This is not the case here, and it is certainly not my intention. As I have said, if the approach set out in the Green Paper was to be implemented, many people would see their payments increased, and I'm glad to have the opportunity to set the record straight this evening.
Deputy Murphy.
But the UK system is based on a work capability assessment, and that is essentially what your Green Paper system is based on. Three tiers which then flow from that. And the Minister says nobody will have their payments cut. But isn't it the case that if you implemented the proposal as it currently is in the Green Paper, people could have their payments cut? If you were found that you were eligible for Tier 1, high support, very low capacity, if you were found able to work, so in Tier 1, you're found very low capacity to work. Those who are found a capability of working could be dropped a tier if they then don't work. Isn't that the case? Or that clearly you could be moved from tier to tier based on whether you do take up employment. Secondly, just to ask the Minister the question I asked the Taoiseach, have you seen the film I, Daniel Blake, which is precisely about, you should go and watch it, it's about this horrendous impact of what I do think is a similar system operating in Britain.
Thanks, Deputy Minister.
Thank you, Deputy. This is a Green Paper, and this is for consultation. It's for discussion. We usually have straw man proposals, but we actually spoke to some of the groups and they said we want to call the Green Paper. And you know what you do with a straw man? You take out bits and you put in bits and you move it all about and you come up with a different man when you're finished. And that's what this is about. It's about hearing views. It's about hearing the views of the stakeholders, the people who have, whom we talk to, it's the representative groups and the disability organisations. And we have to be honest here too. Ireland is behind the EU average for employment rates for people with disabilities. And I've worked to enhance the supports that we have in my department, whether it's the employability programme, the Reasonable Accommodation Fund, the Workability or the Wage Subsidy Scheme for people with disabilities. But we need to do more to work with people and make them aware of the supports. So this is about helping people who want to work. It's not making anybody do anything that they don't want to do or they're not comfortable with. We're not going to be forcing anything on anybody. As I said, nobody will be moved off a disability payment and nobody will see their current payment level reduced.
Thank you. But you see, if you establish a tiered system based on capacity to work, okay, fine. When you introduce it, you can have the bottom tier, the most supposedly capable to work, you can have the bottom tier equivalent to the current rates of payment. But there is nothing to stop you in a future government or another government from dropping that. Because you've established the principle that we don't just accept the people are not able to work, they're disabled, they have the entitlement to a payment, the state should support them. Instead, we are discriminating amongst them based on some company, some state agency, deciding how much capacity you have to work. So we may start out that the bottom payment is equivalent to the current payments, but there's nothing to keep that for the future. It's a divide and rule, potentially, of people on disability payments. And those on disability payments are very scared of this. One woman who contacted me said the assessment process is dehumanising, soul-destroying, the idea of proving that you and your children are, quote, disabled enough to get the support needed. I don't understand. If you say you want to increase the payments, well, let's just increase the payments. Let's recognise the enormous cost of disability and increase payments across the board.
Yeah, well, the background to the Green Paper is the Cost of Disability report, and that was produced after extensive consultation, and it probably was the biggest consultation in terms of any report that was carried out by the state, and we extended it a few times because the people wanted more consultation. It's recommended that the levels of payment and allowances should be changed to reflect the very different costs associated with the severity and the type of disability. And as you will understand, the people on disability payments range across a wide spectrum of capabilities, from those who have very profound physical and intellectual disabilities and who face significant extra costs to those who have less restrictive conditions. So the current system of payments does not reflect this. Instead, it takes a one-size-fits-all approach, and that is why the cost of disability proposed that while we should recognise and acknowledge all forms of disability, we should also differentiate our payments and support our target any extra resources at those people who need it.
Thanks, Minister.
Thank you.
On to